We're live, Daphne. You're muted. You're muted.
Good evening and welcome. We are here tonight for another virtual generational wealth series, session 3. Tonight we will have tax tips from April Jackson, a master tax preparer with Jackson Resources and Services. We will be live again on Facebook and YouTube. Before we begin, I would like to share a few words, and they fit perfectly for April's business. Many are still asking, so what is generational wealth all about? It's basically wealth that is passed down from one generation to another. You may hear some people say family wealth or legacy wealth. It comes in many forms, such as real estate assets, stock markets, financial education is used to carry it forward. But what is so interesting about that definition and our presenter tonight is April's family is a generational wealth product where they have been doing taxes for years. Her mom had the business. She taught April. April is continuing that legacy. So when we hear from her tonight, we will find out many interesting things. And just to know that April was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She received her early childhood education in the East Baton Rouge Parish school systems. And while in school at an early age, she realized that she had a love for math and all things that related to numbers. April continued her education, and she graduated with honors from Estruma High School in 1988. She was destined to be a force in the financial industry. She just felt that, and she knew that. Spending several years in banking, she faced the fallout of the recession, lost her job as a senior mortgage loan specialist. And from that event, she said, I think I want to own my own business. So remembering how her mother prepared taxes for the community and how she helped her mom along the way, she decided to continue the legacy. April went off to complete tax school and training through Drake Tax and Accounting School. She did further training as she worked for B and Aura Tax Services here in Baton Rouge. That company switched to an ownership called Safeguard Tax Services. And when this change happened with tax season, it was right in the midst of a robust period for tax season. But that didn't stop her. With her learning and training, she continued to register and take classes. She then decided it's time for me to have my own business. And with that, she got her tax business through the IRS. She then registered with the Secretary of State in Louisiana. And so Jackson Resource Services became a part of the Baton Rouge community. April spent many days and long hours marketing through word of mouth, grassroots, flyers on cars, what we all do, posting, business cards, and however she could and whenever she could to promote her business. She proudly opened her first tax business on Lobdell and flourished very quickly. Later, she moved to the Dean Towers, located on Florida Boulevard. And needing a location for handicap accessibility, she decided that it was a pretty good location. However, after enjoying 2 years at that location, she realized some things were amiss with the ownership of the building, and it all happened right in the middle of her tax season. But as you can tell from the things I've shared with you, April has that drive. So she did not let it stop her. It could have been devastating to her and her company, but she said, you know what? This is a devastating hit to my company and my clients need me, so I'm not stopping. She rolled up her sleeves. She found another location. And in 2017, she opened her new location on Wooddale Boulevard. Since that time, she said it's been the best location for her. And she has offered services year round. And why? Her best saying is, the IRS never shuts down after April 15th. So why should we? Therefore, she has been blessed to keep moving forward, as well as praying forward to opening other locations in the future. Throughout this time and period, she consistently strives and advances her knowledge by continuing her education and gaining credit hours in the area of tax. Since COVID hit the communities in a terrible way, yes, as many businesses, she had to close temporarily. However, again, that did not stop her. She implemented virtual services, began to prepare and figure out what she could do to still be successful and continue to serve her clients. She is successful and is highly appreciated by her clients. April has clients throughout the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast. She has become a registered tax preparer serving 49 states. With her extended credentials and strong work ethic, April will be reaching another height. April will be starting law school in 2022. And what is she going to specialize in? Tax law. You know that's right. Continuing to be a strong pillar of the service to the community and near and far. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you April Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Welcome, Ms. Daphne. Wow. And you are so beautiful. I love that red background.
Thank you, April.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much. And to everyone that's on this live stream, I want to thank you. But first and foremost, I have to thank this beautiful lifelong friend of mine. And she was actually a neighbor way back when I was very young. And that is Mrs. Dawn Million Patan. She is the person who reached out to me and said, hey, we need you to come on in and give us some great information on taxes. So I said, hey, no problem. I never say no. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And Ms. Denise, if you would like, we can go ahead and share the screen so we can start the presentation. Okay, great. So these are tax tips and presented by me. I am a master tax preparer with Jackson's Resource Service. And we actually have been in business since 2012 here in the state of Louisiana. Okay, next slide. Next slide, please. All right, so we're going to talk about tax tips. And this is just general information, okay? So the information that I discussed today will just be information that is generalized. So it's not going to be where I'm giving specifics pertaining to each participant's individual tax situation, okay? Because everybody's tax structure is completely different, but this information is general, okay? So we're gonna go over tips for individual taxpayers, tips for self-employed business owners, tips for seniors, tips for charities and nonprofits, fact sheets, and tax scams and consumer alerts. That one is going to be very meaty, okay? So we could go ahead to the next slide. Tax tips for individuals. Gather records. That is the first thing that you have to do. And you're waiting for your mail, you're waiting for those W-2s to show up. And hopefully in the near future, all employers will be able to send it to you where you can capture your W-2s on a website and not have to wait for the Postal Service, okay? So you'll gather all your records. And some people actually start with irs.gov just to see if there are any expected changes for the tax year. And that website stays live 24/7. So it's sometimes good to just take a look at irs.gov. I find that a lot of people, they go off of they said and he said, and you just don't want to go off of that. You want to know exactly, basically from the horse's mouth, what IRS says, okay? Use the online tools. There are a number of online tools on irs.gov to help you figure out earned income credit based off of your earned income, okay? And then there are also other tools that you can use to find out exactly what type of withholding you should have on your payroll or on your wages, okay? So they have the withholding estimation calculator to tell you exactly what you should do when filling out the Form W-4, which is to withhold federal taxes from your paycheck. Choose a reputable preparer. Now, this one, I stand by at 100%, not just for me, but for anyone. Choose a reputable preparer. You can check the Secretary of State right here in Louisiana. There are a number of tax preparers and check them out. If you look at their profile and it says their license has been revoked, suspended, that should tell you there, walk away, turn your head. Don't select that preparer. That is one key that you should look at first. Second, IRS has a registered preparer directory. It's actually on IRS website. And you can actually click on the state, then the city to locate a registered tax preparer with the Internal Revenue Service that actually has preparer tax identification number that is valid, okay? So that's a good idea to do that. File electronically. The best way and the fastest way to get your money is to file electronically. Those refunds, IRS says 7 to 21 days. Sometimes you look up and you can get it shorter than 21 days. But filing electronically and choosing direct deposit is the best and accurate way to receive your refund, okay? And given the fact that just recently, the issuance of the economic impact payments, the stimulus payments, having that direct deposit previously for the previous years, for 18 and 19, and even 20, direct deposit information is a win-win, okay? Because the stimulus payments have been coming out. They have a new wave coming out in the next couple of weeks, and direct deposit is the way to go. Next, for individuals, report all your income. A little bit of income is still income. So don't feel like a simple W-2 would just, oh, it's just $100. I don't need to file that. Yes, you do. All income, okay? Because when you receive a W-2 from your employer, the employer's responsibility is to provide the same W-2 to the Internal Revenue Service for their business. So that document is there already with IRS. The burden for the taxpayer is to do their taxes and submit that W-2, okay? So if you don't submit the W-2, then you'll wind up having to do an amendment. because when you have to do an amendment, that means it's an adjustment, okay? If you do leave out a W-2 and the next year you want to add it to the next year, that's a no-no. If you missed a W-2 that you didn't include in your 2019 and you want to put it on your 2020, that does not work. That 19 W-2 that you didn't include has to be prepared as a 2019 return or amendment. So please, if you attempt to try to combine W-2s, I can tell you, you will get a reject or your return will not go through, okay? Report unemployment benefits. This has been something that I've been hearing about and seeing recently for the past couple of months, where there's a lot of individuals, they don't feel as though they need to report the unemployment. Well, I'm here to tell you today, the unemployment benefits that you receive, it is taxable. It's taxable. And if you receive a 1099-G, that document is a tax document, and it has to be included with the income documents you have in order to have your tax return prepared. Next slide, please. Tax tips for seniors and retirees. So I will say this, when you make it to that point of retirement, God bless you. And making sure that you're not having problems with IRS, that's like, it's like heaven. So I'm here to say to you, make sure that you determine if your income, retirement income, is taxable. And most preparers, CPAs, they will be able to tell you exactly if your retirement, your Social Security, or even the IRAs are taxable, okay? So determining if retirement income is taxable, you would have to know it specifically about those wages, and if, because sometimes they say voluntary, but some plans, they're not voluntary, okay? Then those that receive Social Security benefits who receive a statement, there's actually a calculation inside of the Social Security administrator's document that they send to you, which is a 1099 SA. When you receive that, there's actually a chart where you can actually calculate if your Social Security benefits are taxable, okay? So that's one tip that some folks didn't know what that document is when they open it up. IRAs currently have coronavirus-related relief for the retirement plans. So get with your retirement company to see if there's any coronavirus relief, okay? Because there's a lot of programs with retirement companies now. So if you are in retirement and you have an IRA, you should have received some type of correspondence, email or mail. And if you have not, just pick up the phone, give them a call. Hey, is there any coronavirus related benefits or anything that would help me? Very easy to do. Next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about tax tips for self-employed taxpayers. Now, there are a lot of people that say they are self-employed, right? And being a barbershop owner, hair salon, lawn service, lawn care, that's self-employed, okay? If you have a tax ID number and you're registered with the state that you're in, the Secretary of State, you are a self-employed taxpayer, okay? And estimated taxes are due on the revenue that you make with your self-employed business. Now, in my experience, I have seen a number of people who actually have the documentation and shows that they are self-employed. And they show me their logbooks, they show me their receipts, they show me their accounting records and driving records. However, when I ask, have you paid any taxes on the monies that you made? No. How can I pay taxes on the money that I make and I'm self-employed? Easy. All you do, log on to irs.gov and search for electronic tax payments. Register your business. You'll have to put in your EIN number, right? And then from there, it'll give you guidance on paying estimated taxes on the monies that you make. And then at the end of the year, you'll receive a statement from IRS showing the taxes you paid on that money. And it saves you, okay? Schedule C, or CEZ. The Schedule C is included with the tax return. And with the Schedule C, it shows the business name, where it's located, the gross amount of income, all of the deductions that you could take from advertising to auto to supplies, renting machines or equipment, cost of the office, insurance. It goes as far as business use of your home. Take, for instance, if your barbershop is in the garage, that's a part of your home. So all that information is on the Schedule C. Now, if you have a question, well, what is the CEZ? The Schedule CEZ is for self-employed taxpayers who made less than $5,000 in revenue. So that's what the CEZ is for those that made below $5,000. The SE tax, that's self-employment tax. So the self-employment tax comes in based off of the revenue that you made with your business. And that tax is calculated based off of our tax charts from year to year. So that tax can fluctuate for that particular tax year, okay? So with that being said, if you did not pay taxes on the self-employed revenue you made, right? When you prepare your taxes, that self-employed tax is due. And if you have children, dependents, on the tax return, which you would receive credits for as long as you are on the earned income credit scale, then that credit will be used to pay the taxes due on the revenue that you made. So it is critical. Set up the electronic tax payment account through the IRS so that you can make your estimated tax payments throughout the year, and then your farewell at the end of the year when it's time for you to file your taxes. And the last point we're looking at is allowable deductions. No, you cannot carry your pet. Okay, I just had to put that there because even in 2020, 2021, I have folks that tell me, hey, what about my cat, my dog? No, they can't be issued a social security number. So if they can't be issued a social security number, no, you cannot. However, dogs that are service dogs, that's a whole different ball game, okay? So if you have questions about that, feel free to email us at jacksonsresource@gmail.com. But allowable deductions for a self-employed business is totally known and customary and understandable by IRS. Again, I go back to barbershops and hair salons, even nail salons, right? Allowable deductions, supplies, right? Utilities, because the only way you can work your business, you need light and electricity, okay? So utilities, that's included in there. Insurance, if you're paying insurance on your business or even for your home, and your business is inside your home, okay? Allowable deductions. So again, you can find out about those allowable deductions on IRS, or you can contact our office, okay? Next slide, please. All righty. Tax tips for charities and nonprofits. This slide here, it can go in all different directions. So what I did, I just kind of narrowed it down so that we could just touch base on the particulars, okay? So charities and nonprofits, you can apply for tax exempt status. You can reinstate tax exempt status, because we know charities and nonprofits, the 501c3s, those folks, yes, they are tax exempt, okay? So if you are a 501c3 and you are a nonprofit, then you can apply for tax exempt status. And if, just if, because things happen, you have to be reinstated, then you can do that as well. Annual filing and forms. There's an annual requirement, okay? So just because you're 501c3 or a charity, that does not mean that you have been eliminated for filing taxes. It's an annual filing requirement, okay? Even churches. Churches are supposed to do an annual filing, okay? Tax exempt organization search. So take, for instance, you may be looking for a nonprofit or a charity that you would like to donate money to, which is a deduction on your taxes, right? So if you want to find out of a tax exempt organization in your area, just go to the tax exempt organization search right there on IRS. And I have the links right there for you. Okay, and just click on that tax exempt organization search, key in the name, or you can actually look at a state or a city or a state, and you'll be able to locate a company. If you're searching for one just to, get information or an idea, or to do some type of donation, a charitable donation, okay? So if you want, you can write those down, those great links there. And then the portion where we talked about reinstate your tax exempt status, right there at the bottom, you'll see the link that says stay exempt.irs.gov. So that link right there, if you are a nonprofit or a charity, click on that link. Go on that particular link and see the information to keep you in tax exempt status. Things that you should do to stay in that status, things you should not do to wind up and get removed from that status, okay? Next slide, please. Tax tips fact sheets. I read these fact sheets on a daily basis because in the world of tax, things change. Things change a lot, okay? So IRS has detailed and current fact sheets to help tax preparers and payers, right? And because of the current changes with regards to tax and the economic impact payments, you want to stay on top of that, okay? And I go back to the he said and the she said and the they said. Go to IRS said. Do that. Share that tip. Go to IRS said, okay? So, and the next thing that we see here, be tax ready. Understand how life changes may affect the 2020 tax return this year, okay? So I put that link there for you as well, okay? Be ready. Be ready for any tax changes, okay? And also the fact sheets, they stay current and up to date. And also you can actually look at previous archived fact sheets, okay? Next slide, please. Tax scams and consumer alerts. Woo! Boy, I tell you, this one right here, it is prevalent all over the nation. Tax scams, unreal. So clearly, thousands of people have lost millions of dollars and their personal information to tax scams. Scammers use the right, scammers use the regular mail, telephone, or email to set up individuals, businesses, payroll, and tax professionals. The IRS doesn't initiate contact with taxpayers by email, text messages, or social media channels to request personal or financial information. Now, I have to reiterate on that. Recently, there were folks that were calling saying that your social security number has been blocked or frozen, and you need to give us all your information because the IRS says that you owe such and such, and you need to pay this and you need to pay that. That's a no-no. Hang up the phone or block their number, okay? IRS will not call you. You have to call them. IRS will not mail you unless they need to mail documentation to you for verification, like identity verification letters, other letters pertaining to your taxes, prior year tax issues, and audits. That type of mail will come to you, and it will clearly say Internal Revenue Service. Next point, don't be a victim to a ghost tax return preparer. So your question would be, well, what is a ghost preparer? What is that? That sounds scary. It is scary. If you have your taxes prepared and there is no signature on the tax return by you or by the preparer, and that line says self-prepared, then that's a ghost tax return. Let me reiterate. The tax return is either 2 pages or 1, 2018, all that information is on the first page. If your tax return, where you sign at the bottom in the signature block, if you receive your tax return and in that company signature box on the bottom of the tax return shows self-prepared and you paid a tax fee to the person that prepared it, that is a ghost tax prepare and return. So what happens to a tax return that is ghost and it says self-prepared when you paid for the tax services? If you are audited based off of that tax return, who would take the responsibility? It says self-prepared. And that's a hard fight to fight with IRS when you paid someone to prepare the taxes and their name is nowhere on your tax return. Their business address, their phone number, their PTIN, or their employee identification number. If all that information is missing on your tax return, that is a ghost return, and you will be responsible. Last tip, log on to the IRS newsroom, tax scams, and consumer alerts, and you'll be able to see a wealth of protections that you can take to protect your tax account, and also to look at alerts and tax scams that are actually happening right here in our town, right here in Baton Rouge, throughout Louisiana, throughout the United States. Okay, next slide, please. This is the end of the presentation, and if there are any questions, we're going to go ahead and open up for questions.
So far, there are no questions in the chat on Facebook or Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Well, again, I want to thank everyone that participated in this generational wealth series. I am just so excited that I was selected to facilitate. And again, thank you to the Baton Rouge chapter, Delta Sigma Theta. I greatly appreciate you, Ms. Daphne, Ms. Dawn, and Ms. Dawn Patan. Thank you. My name is April Jackson with Jackson's Resource Service, and I am available to you and for you. You see our information right there on the slide, and feel free to contact us or email us. Thank you again.
Thanks, everyone, for joining in. April, you really gave us a lot of great tax tips. Having an LLC myself, I learned some things about what to do, what not to do, what I'm doing right, what I better brush up on.
Yes, ma'am.
To the listening audience, this is Baton Rouge Sigma, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Generational Wealth Series. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. And as we tell you always, make generational wealth a part of your family's business. It is very important that we teach our families, especially our youth, the purpose and the importance. Above all else, as we always say, wake up and stay woke. Have a good evening. Great, April.